In today's headlines, Vietnam needs clear roadmap for economic reform. Exports are forecasted up to 113 billion US dollars in tough year. And 8th month car sales go down by 38%. Hello and welcome to Daily Biz. I'm Trung from Hanoi. We'll start today's new bulletin with an update on the stock exchange.
Shares managed to rally this morning, seeing improved trading values after two declining sessions this week. On the Ho Chi Minh City Stock Exchange, the VN Index put on 1.05 points, reaching 385.37 points, as more than half of listed stocks added value. The VN30, tracking the 30 leading shares by capitalization and liquidity, advanced by 1.47 points to 450.44 points. Meanwhile, in Hanoi, the HNX index on Hanoi Stock Exchange also enjoyed a rally, adding 0.25 points to reach 54.19 points. The Upcom index, the measure of 131 unlisted public companies, closed at 0.32 points higher to reach 39.36 points.
And now let's take a look at the top 5 gainers and losers of today. According to the Asian Development Outlook 2012 update, released today in Hanoi by the Asian Development Bank, or ADB Vietnam, the Vietnam's economy is expected to grow at 5.1% in 2012. There are many reasons accounted for the decline in growth rate, including concerns on solutions to the non-performing loans within the banking system. ADB experts believed that a clear roadmap should be addressed for successful and effective economic reform. More to follow.
Addressing the prospects of the Vietnam's economy, ADB Representative Tomoyuki Kimura said that growth forecasts had been lowered to 5.1% in 2012 due to a number of reasons, including the weak global and domestic markets, the muted impact of policies, measures, and banking sector's vulnerabilities. Especially problems within the financial system could intensify as businesses struggle, property prices fall, and bank earnings come under pressure.
Government, of course, could take a combination of policies, including recapitalizing weak banks, merging weak banks into the strong banks, and also maybe government could consider use of an asset management company to segregate the bad loans from the weaker banks. And of course, the investment, maybe the foreign investment into the local bank could be also options.
Restructuring the entire economy has been on the government's agenda for the last couple of years, since the short-term outlook largely hinges on banking sector issues, particularly non-performing loans. Reforming banking system should be a priority for the short term.
Government have to give priority to the banking sector reform in the short term. But of course, other reforms are equally important, but it will take some more time. So it is important for government to develop a roadmap for these reforms.
The Asian Development Outlook 2012 update also gives an assessment on other economies in the Asian region. According to the Asian Development Outlook 2012, given Vietnam's economy's performances in the first 6 months, the forecast for GDP is now reduced to 5.1%. ADB expert said that stronger resolution for structural reform, a clear roadmap, and a frequent update on the reformed process are needed for the Vietnam economy at the moment. Minh Hằng, VTV International, Hanoi.
A report on Vietnam's macroeconomy and future prospects of the Vietnamese market announced by HSBC on October the 2nd show that the Vietnamese economy would experience a recovery in the fourth quarter of this year.
An anticipated recovery in the fourth quarter could stoke inflationary pressure, although inflation is still likely to stay in single digits by the year-end 2012, said the report. According to HSBC, Vietnam has been successful at cooling an overheated economy. To achieve macroeconomic stability, growth remains below predicted, at only at 5% in 2012. However, the deceleration of the economy should be taken as an opportunity to correct structural weaknesses, such as a still cumbersome business environment, inefficient SOEs, and public investments, it says. The latest data release also shows that export rebounded, and the balance of trade to date was positive. Inflation remained in single digits, and the economy accelerated slightly in the third quarter of 2012.
In other economic news, Vietnam's exports are expected to total $113 billion this year, $4 billion higher than the earlier target. This information was announced by the Director of the Ministry of Industry and Trade's Planning Department, Nguyễn Tiến Vi. Let's take a closer look at this story.
In an online meeting held on October the 1st to review the first three-quarter performance, we said overall growth in export turnover would likely not exceed 10 to 9 months, a 19% increase over the same period last year. Foreign invested enterprises accounted for $52.4 billion, or 63% of the total. Asian markets generated 79% of the country's export turnover during the 9 months period. 18 categories of goods saw export in excess of $1 billion in the first 9 months. The textile and garment industry took the lead, with export worth $11.25 billion, followed by mobile phones and accessories, $8.55 billion, crude oils, $6.3 billion, electronics and computers, $5.36 billion, and seafood, $4.14 billion. Deputy Ministers of Industry and Trade Lee Seung-Kwang said the biggest challenges facing exports were protectionist trends in the key markets.
September's foreign direct investment (FDI) reached over $1 billion, bringing the total 9-month FDI in Vietnam to $9.52 billion, according to the Foreign Investment Agency (FIA) under the Ministry of Planning and Investment.
The figure is equivalent to 72.1% of the total during the same period last year. The processing and manufacturing sector attracted the most FDI with over $6.2 billion, which accounts for 65.5% of the total registered capital so far, the agency reported. Real estate saw a total registered capitals of over $1.8 billion, while other areas including wholesale, retail, and media attracted only over $400 million. FIA reported that Japan led investment with $4.7 billion. However, September's FDI disbursement only hit $820 million, which was the lowest level during the last 5 months, said FIA. FDI disbursement during the first 9 months stood at $8.1 billion, equal to 98.8% of the level in the same period.
In prices. Due to the low sales quantity, sugar factories are facing losses. Granulated sugar prices currently stand at 15,000 Vietnamese dong per kilogram, down 3,000 to 3,500 dong year on year. At this price, after subtracting production costs, manufacturers are facing a loss of 500 to 800 Vietnamese dong per kilo. Sugarcane growers in Hậu Giang are expressing concerns regarding the slow sales of sugarcane. This is the third year in a row sugar output has outrun demand. Rubber prices in Asia have reached their highest level for the past 4 months, after sharp falls since early this year. The bounce was triggered by the largest reduction in export volume since 2009.
Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia are the world's biggest rubber manufacturers. However, these countries have decided to cut exports by about 300,000 tons, starting from October the 1st. The reduced amount is equal to the amount of rubber bought by China, the world's largest rubber importer, within a 5-week period. On Tokyo's Stockholm Exchange, prices for March 2013 contracts have increased 4.6% to $3,490 per ton, the highest value since May the 30th. According to a survey by Bloomberg, rubber prices in Tokyo are projected to surpass $3,839 per ton by the end of this year.
In other news, the Vietnam Coffee and Cacao Association is urging banks to once again provide credit to buy up crop surpluses on the eve of this year's coffee harvest. The Coffee Growers Group has already proposed buying 300,000 tons of the 2012-2013 coffee for temporary stockpiling, an increase of 200,000 tons over last year. Last year, the association partnered successfully with Agribank, Techcombank, and Military Bank to finance purchases stable coffee prices and regulating export volume. Exports into the first 9 months of this year total 1.36 million tons and earned $2.85 billion, a year-on-year increase of 36.8% in volume and around 30% in value. Before continuing on to other news, let's take a look at the updated foreign exchange rates. Dollar demand from businesses to pay for contracts, goods, and services rose sharply in the third quarter, according to local state-run online newspaper Tuổi Trẻ, citing sources from the State Bank of Vietnam, the country's central bank.
Total dollars sold to economic institutions and individuals in the third quarter of 2012 reached $13.736 billion and $489 million respectively. However, SBV's source said that the central bank has supplied enough dollars and forex trading at commercial banks saw no tension, as dollar prices remain within their 1% trading band. The differences between dollar prices in the banking system and in the unofficial market was small. Therefore, dollars flew to banks and dollar hoarding and speculation was limited. The central bank forecasted that demand for dollar in the last months of the year would rise on seasonal factors and higher production demand. But with its suitable forex and monetary policies, forex trading in the banking system will be stable and illegal dollar trading would remain limited.
The Vietnam Automobile Manufacturers Association, VAMA, on over the months. For example, August alone witnessed a 5% decrease compared to July, 34% lower than the same period last year. According to VAMA's estimates, car sales will continue to face difficulties from now until the end of the year. Total car purchases are now predicted to reach just 88,000 units for the whole year of 2012, a further decrease compared to the most recent prediction in July. And that piece of news also wraps up our daily base for today. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you more next time.